A single image fills the screen. Well, a globe, cracked down the middle. Red lightning forks out from North America. Tiny soldiers swarm around the fissures. Jets swarm around the fissures. Across this stark picture, bold white letters ask the question, from savior to spark. This is the world we now inhabit, a world where the role of the United States has profoundly changed. The nation that once rebuilt a shattered globe now stands at the center of its most dangerous fractures. We must ask ourselves how this happened. We must understand the long road that led from the ashes of one world war to the potential fuse of another. The story is not simple. It is a story of good intentions. It is a story of shifting power. It is a story of pride. It is a story of fear. The story begins in 1945. The greatest war in human history was finally over. London, rebuilt from rubble. Tokyo, rebuilt from rubble. Entire nations were on their knees, their people starving, their futures uncertain. Into this vacuum of hope stepped the United States. Its homeland was untouched by the fighting, its industrial might unparalleled. It offered help on a scale the world had never seen before. The Marshall Plan poured billions into rebuilding Europe. Food aid saved countless lives. The U.S. led the creation of new global institutions, like the United Nations. For many, America was not just a world power, it was a savior. This benevolent giant defined America's image for a generation. It was the leader of the free world. It projected democracy, it projected liberty, it projected prosperity, all in stark contrast to the closed authoritarian Soviet world. This wasn't just about charity, it was about building a new global order, an order with America at the top, an order that promised stability, an order that promised trade and collective defense against aggression. This was the foundation of the post-war era, built by American power, money, and ideals. The world looked to Washington for leadership and protection. But that was a long time ago. Today, the world looks at America with respect, suspicion, and anxiety. The savior has become a source of tension. The shield has, in the eyes of some, become a sword. This was not by accident. The United States built and maintained a vast network of alliances. Backed by undeniable might, this promise acted as a powerful deterrent. The shield extended across oceans, enabling economies like Japan, South Korea, and West Germany to flourish. The American dollar became the world's reserve currency. America made the rules, and for allies, those rules brought prosperity. This system was often called the Pax Americana. It was not a perfect peace. The United States intervened across the globe, Korea, Vietnam, often with devastating consequences. It supported regimes that were undemocratic and brutal, so long as they were anti-communist. Proxy wars left scars that never healed. The shield that protected allies could look like a cage to some. The two superpowers, the US, the USSR, understood the terrifying stakes of direct confrontation. They established red lines, negotiated arms control, and created back channels for crisis communication. The world held its breath in 1962, but leaders pulled back from the brink. The American role was dual: contain the rival with overwhelming strength and manage the relationship to prevent global holocaust. For decades, that tense, imperfect balance worked. It prevented World War III. Then, in 1991, the world changed. The Soviet Union collapsed. Suddenly, the United States stood alone. No peer in military strength, no rival in economic influence, no challenger in cultural reach. Pundits called it the unipolar moment. Many believed a new era of peace had arrived. Constraints melted away. America grew bolder, more confident in shaping the world in its image. Power's purpose shifted: expand democracy, stop crises, confront rogue states, the global policeman. Intoxicating in Washington, unnerving in Moscow and Beijing. One of the most consequential decisions of the post-Cold War era was the expansion of NATO. Created in 1949 to defend Western Europe from a Soviet invasion. With the Soviet Union gone, many questioned whether NATO still had a reason to exist. But instead of dissolving, the alliance began to grow. In 1999, Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic. A historic celebration for nations long under Soviet domination. In the West, it seemed a natural expansion of peace and democracy. In Moscow, the view was very different. Russians saw a military alliance created to oppose them moving steadily closer. Leaders claimed they had received informal assurances NATO would not expand after German reunification. Expansion looked like encirclement, a strategic ring closing. It fed a narrative of humiliation and encirclement. In 2004, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. For NATO, it secured free nations' right to choose alliances. For Russia, it was a direct, unacceptable threat. Imagine if Mexico or Canada were to join a military alliance led by China. Washington's reaction would be swift and severe. A defensive act for some became, for others, a slow-burning fuse. In the wake of the 9/11 attacks, the United States, alongside a coalition of the willing, invaded Iraq in 2003. The stated goal was to disarm Saddam Hussein of weapons of mass destruction, which were never found. The regime fell in weeks, a stunning display of American military supremacy. But the war that followed lasted for years. It destabilized the Middle East and unleashed sectarian violence that killed hundreds of thousands. It gave rise to new and more terrifying extremist groups like ISIS. The war became a symbol of American overreach. The justification proved false. Hopes of quick democracy turned into a bloody, protracted insurgency. Trust in American intelligence and motives plummeted among rivals and key allies. The U.S. showed it could and would act alone, brushing aside UN objections. Power used this way weakened America's standing and left a legacy of distrust. A spark in Mesopotamia started a regional fire. A decade later, another fuse was lit after a pro-Western revolution in Kiev. Russia responded with force, annexed Crimea, and backed a separatist insurgency. The West condemned, sanctioned, and armed Ukraine. A simmering conflict burst into flame. While Europe has been a theater of tension, an even more dangerous flashpoint may be gathering in the Pacific. The island of Taiwan, a self-governing democracy of 24 million people, lies at the center of this storm. China views Taiwan as a renegade province that must be brought under its control, by force if necessary. The United States acknowledges one China, yet maintains robust ties and arms sales under the Taiwan Relations Act. Strategic ambiguity deters invasion without explicit troop commitments, a policy harder to sustain. As China's power grows, so does impatience. Capabilities now make invasion a realistic, if costly, option. The U.S. deepens military ties, approves arms, and increases patrols through the strait. Allies strengthen. Beijing sees containment. Skies and waters are intensely militarized. A collision or accidental shootdown could escalate with terrifying speed. Core interests collide. China's sovereignty versus America's credibility. Neither side feels it can back down. We now stand at a perilous moment in history. The world is laced with tripwires. A crisis in Ukraine, a standoff over Taiwan, a conflict in the Middle East. American bases near rival spheres, fleets through contested waters, and new technologies create a system primed for rapid escalation. A leader who feels cornered or humiliated might make a reckless choice. This is the stark warning. A path of primacy, unilateral action, and alliance expansion has created immense friction and fear. A small fight can trigger obligations and spiral into global war. That is the path to World War III. But there is another path. There is a concrete hope. The United States possesses immense power, and diplomacy must be central. Open, serious, sustained strategic stability talks with Russia and with China. Establish red lines and rules of the road in air and at sea. Restart nuclear and advanced conventional arms control. This does not mean weakness. The U.S. can maintain alliances and credible deterrence while engaging rivals. Use economic power to build ties of trade and investment that reward stability. Champion international law consistently, strengthening peaceful dispute resolution. The choice is clear. America can continue to wield a hammer, risking shattering the globe. Or it can offer the ribbon, binding the world's fractures through dialogue. That is the only way to pull the fuse. The decision will define the century. The world is watching. Thank you for watching. The issues we face are complex, and the stakes could not be higher. If this story gave you a clearer understanding of our world, please give this video a like. Please subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the forces shaping our future. We want to hear your perspective. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters in this crucial conversation.